Today I'm going to show you how to mirror a HDRI so you have the sky above and below in your environment. Really easy stuff, so let's jump straight into it. Obviously go into rendered mode. Now the first thing we're going to do is take our mouse and bring it over to the top right corner where it turns into a little crosshair. We're just going to drag this in so it creates another window, and we're going to change this thing here to shader editor. Go to this drop down menu up here and change that to world, and this will allow you to start editing your world environment. Now I've already created this mirror effect here with this HDRI, so I'm just going to delete everything that I've got here so we can start fresh. First things first, I'm just going to hit N on my keyboard to get rid of that tool menu here. Now what you want to do is just delete everything in this world shader editor apart from your world output. If you've deleted that, that's fine, just go Shift A, output, world output. Now what we want to do is hit Shift A and we're going to add an environment texture, and you can just pop that here and just plug that into the surface. And everything's going to go pink, and that's because we obviously haven't loaded up a HDRI. Now I'm presuming you've already got a HDRI in mind as you have clicked on this video, so I'm just going to pull one up now. If you don't, there's a website here called Polyhaven. This is what I generally use. It's a really good website if you just want to grab some free HDRIs. Yeah, all you got to do is just browse HDRIs, find one you like, download it, and then just throw it into Blender. So go into your environment texture node now, and just hit open, and just locate where you saved your HDRI. So we're just going to load that in now. It looks great, but sometimes when you're building a scene, you don't want all this ground stuff here. You want to just see the sky. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of the bottom half of your HDRI. So the first thing you want to do is go into your world shader editor, duplicate this HDRI. We're going to hit Shift D on this node and pop that there. Now hit Shift A. We're going to search for mix shader, and we're just going to pop this here. So we're going to plug one HDRI into the first shader, and we're going to plug the second one into the second shader. What this will normally do is, see, if I unplug this mix shader basically lets us blend in between two inputs. So as you can see, it's fading to black as I put it to the right. So if we plug the same HDRI into this mix shader, this will allow us to blend in between the two, see, but you're not seeing any effect, and that's because obviously it's the same HDRI, so there's nothing to differentiate the two. So our aim is to basically use these identical HDRIs and basically flip one of them so that we can basically blend between one that's right side up and another that's upside down. So with both of these HDRIs plugged into the mix shader, if you haven't already, I recommend you install a little add-on called Node Wrangler, which you can find here by going to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and just search Node Wrangler and make sure that's checked. This just makes working in this space much easier. So with that add-on installed, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this HDRI. I'm just going to hit Control T, and that's going to add a mapping node and a texture coordinate. If you're hitting Control T and that's not working, you haven't installed Node Wrangler properly. So I advise you to go back in there and just double check that you've hit that checkbox. So let's do the same for this one. Control T. If we start rotating the image, you can see now we're getting a mix of both of these HDRIs. So we're going to look at the rotation parameters on this one. Let's leave all of these at 0, and let's put this one at 180. Now as you can see, the two are blending together, but that's not really what we want. You can still kind of see bits here and there, and it looks a bit weird with them mixed together. So what we need to do is work out how to control the way these two inputs talk to each other. Now a keen eye might notice that you can actually plug something into this factor parameter. So we're going to use a gradient texture to control how these two inputs talk to each other. So hit Shift A, add a texture, add a gradient texture, pop that there, plug the FAC into the FAC, and make sure this is set to linear. So now all we have to do is add a color ramp to give us some more control. So hit Shift A, go to Converter, add color ramp, pop that in between. And now as you can see, as we start bringing this white value in, it starts bringing the gradient in, and we can control how tight the edge is, or we can flip it around alternatively. But one thing you'll notice is the gradient is at the wrong angle. So again, click on your gradient texture, hit Control T, and all you have to do is rotate this on the Y by 90 degrees. And as you can see, it's mirroring the HDRI, but it's not mirroring it in the correct way. It's actually mirroring the floor with the floor. So in order to fix this, we just need to move the rotation to -90 rather than 90. And there you go. Now you can see you have a perfectly mirrored HDRI. Now you can control the gradient so it fades in a bit more, or you can either change this to constant so you can get a hard edge, and then you can just bring the white up to the horizon level But honestly, I prefer to have it set to linear so it has a bit of fade between the two. Now, unfortunately, I'm not too sure how you can raise the horizon level to get rid of these buildings. If anyone knows that, feel free to leave a comment below so we can all learn. But for now, I think that works quite well. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, as it really helps me grow the channel. As always, you can find more of my work at my website. That's nevmotion.co.uk.